So we finished yesterday 3. Let's create a new folder. Okay, let's create a new folder for today. We name it. So maybe 28. Okay, so we have completed 3 problems. Now let's start with the 4th one. Okay, so this is also a problem on the recursive. There are a lot of problems on recursive. We'll complete all the problems which I have in my folder. Okay, so now this is little bit different. Okay, so let me explain you how to do this one. Okay, so the idea is we need to check which are the odd values and which are the even values. So the task is that one. So we have to find which one are even and which one are odd. So I want to collect all the odd values, and that is what I am trying to. I will do it. Okay, so collect odd values. So I will pass an array like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it has to grab the odd values. That is that is 1, 3, and 5, and return those values. And it has to use the recursive function. So generally we have seen here, if you see 3, factorial iterative is there, factorial recursive is there, which is the name of the function, and we're calling another function inside that factorial recursive, same function we're calling it here. But in some cases, we create an internal helper function that is recursive. So the main function is not recursive. Internal helper function is recursive. So that's what we will be doing here now. So what I will do, I will create a function, collect odd values, and I will pass an array in this one. Let's call this function and pass the array. Array will be something, this array. So what we will be doing now, we will not call the collect odd values as a recursive function, but we will create a helper function inside this collected values, and that will be the recursively called. So since I need to collect the odd values, so I need some variable where I will store that odd values. So I always try to think what is the output we have to give. We have to give the output of 1, 3, and 5 as an array. So we need some variable where I will be returning it. So I'll create a variable called as result. Okay, so I created a variable result which I will return it in the end. Okay, now what we will do, I will create here internal function which will be recursively called to make out the recursive logic completed. So let's create a helper function. So I'll create another function inside it called as helper, and I will get some input. Okay, so this is a helper function which will take this array and from 1 second. Okay, sorry. So I created this helper function which will initially take this array, and internally we will call this helper function again by reducing the array to different number, different, reducing the array to some different value. So look here, because this is different type, so I will explain this. Otherwise, I would have asked you to write it. So previously, you remember we created a function and we were calling that function from inside that function. But here, main function is there which will store the variable, and we have the internal function which will be recursively called, and we will see how it is called recursively. So I will put helper with the array. So initially I will call from outside this helper and I'll pass this array. So array will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then what will happen? So we will only take the one value of the array. Inside this helper, we will take only one value of the helper, that is 1, and we will process it. And if it is odd, we will put it in the result part. And if it is not odd, then we will not put in the result part. Okay, so, and then we will call helper again by reducing this array to 2 to 5. Since 1 is processed, then I will pass only 2 to 5. Then I will take 2 part and I will process it. And then I will pass only 3 to 5 to the helper function. So it will be clear once I start writing it. So here I have to write some base condition when this helper function will end. So I will write this base condition in a minute. So before base condition, I need to check my logic. So what is the logic? Whatever input I get it, I will check the first value of that input. So here I will say if input of 0. So how to check the odd value? Can anyone tell me how to check the odd value? If it is odd, if this input or 0 is odd or not, what should I write here? Does anyone know how to check the odd values? Odd means it should be 1 or 3 or 5. So what should I write so it will say that it is the odd value? %2, correct. So I will take this value input 0, which will be 1 in this case, and I will do %2. And %2, that is, I will divide this number by 2 and the remainder is 0, then it is even, and remainder is not 0, then it is odd. So if the remainder of this is not equal to 0, that means it is odd. Okay, so and if it is 0, that means it is even. If I put equal, 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 then it means even. But if I put not, that means it is odd. Odd if %2 is not equal to 0, and even if %2 equal to 0. So here I will check if it is even, then I will take this number and put it inside the result. So I will say result dot push input of 0. So that means I will take 1 and put it in the result, and then I have to call this function again by passing this array like this one, this part of the array. So how to call this? I will say helper. This is the helper function. Currently input is going this whole array, but now we know we have processed the 1. So we need to pass this whole thing. So how to pass this whole thing? I will say input dot slice 1. When I say slice 1, it means it will not take 0. It will take from 1 till the end of the array. So what we are doing? Initially we are passing array, that is this whole array. We are processing the 0 element, that is the 0 element is processed. And if it is odd, we put it in the result array. And then we call this helper function again because we want to call recursive. But here we are passing input dot slice 1. Slice 1 means we are taking from 2 to 5 and passing it in the helper function. So after 2 will go, 2 to 5 it will go, it will process the 0, that is it will process the 2, and then it will send 3 to 5 inside this helper function. And then again from 3 to 5 which will check 3 number only. And then again we will pass 4 to 5. Then we will check the 4 number. Then we will only pass the 5. Then we'll check the 5 number. And then we will pass the empty array. So when it is empty array, that means we don't want to do any further calculation. So base condition will be if input dot length is equal to 0. If it is 0, we don't want to proceed further. I will return it. So if input dot length, that is if we don't have any length inside this array, then we return it. Otherwise, we call this recursive function again and again. And ultimately, everything will be pushed into the result. So we return the result here. So let's check this example and see if it is working. So we are getting 1, 3, and 5. That is odd. We are getting it. So this example is little different because we are not calling the main function recursively, but we create another function inside the main function and we call that recursively. And we get the results and we put in the result based on our logic and we return the result here. So this condition is used when we want to return some array based on certain logic, then we have to create a recursive function inside the main function. Okay, so just write down this function and then we will be doing more problems. And some problems will be based on this way and some will be directly this way. Okay, so you have to think on that also, which way you have to follow. I'll give you 2 minutes to write it down. Okay, let's go to next problem. So I'll create a next problem, py.js. So here the problem is, so we have one function in the math, in the JavaScript, that is called math.pow. And here I will pass two things, 2, comma 4, and it will give me the result of 16. So how it calculates the 16? So it will run 2 4 times. So the math.pow is something 2 raised to 4, and it will run that. It means that it will run 2 into 2 into 2 into 2. So that is, it will run 2 4 times, and that's the reason it is saying 2 slash 4 is 16. So this is the JavaScript inbuilt function, but we will need to create our own function, which will be giving the result of whatever I'm getting it here. So if I pass my custom function 2 comma 4, then it should give me 16 in that custom function, and it has to be returned recursively. And this is the task I'm giving to you. So you have to do it, and it will be considered here in my. It will be considered here in your test one. So this function is called the power function, and it has to be done only recursively. Okay, so that's what you have to do recursively. Okay, let me show you now how. So the function name is called power. It will take two values, x and y. Consider x and y. And then you have to build similar to math.pow, which I just now showed you, where if you pass 2 slash 4, result is 16. So how we got the result 16? We take the first number and we multiply it 4 times. It's saying 2 into 2 into 2 into, sorry, into 2, like this 4 times. If I pass 2 slash 5, that means it will go 5 times 2, and the result will be 32, like this. So you have to create a function this which will give me the results based on the math.pow. So I will create a function. You have to do it with value x and y. And this is a recursive function. Since we are passing this and we want only one value, so you don't need to create internal function. You can directly call the main function recursively. Okay, so now here you will write your code, and when I pass here power of 2 comma 4, I should get result of 16. Okay, so this is something I should get it. So you have 5 minutes to write down this one. And remember, you need to take care of two conditions. One is power has to be called from inside this function, and you need to write some base condition where this function will end. Because in recursive, always remember these two conditions should be fulfilled. Otherwise, it will go indefinite loop and you will not get the results what you want. So you have 5 minutes to finish this. So those who complete, they should put in the private chat and give it to me so that I will give you points on it. And remember, I will run as you are giving it without modifying the code. So you have to give me the code as it is, like this. But internally, you have to write your logic inside this. Okay, so I only got one response, not I got another one also. Let's see. Okay, let me run first solution from J. Let's run that one and see what we are getting it. So it's passing x, y, and if y equal to 0, it returns 1, else it will return x into power of x and y minus 1. So whatever x is there, it will go here, and once the y will become 0, it will return 1. Okay, so let's try. So it's getting 16. That's correct. So let's try to put 5. That's also correct. Let's try to put y comma 2. That's correct. So the solution is correct. Only thing I'll comment on this one is you need to put 3 equal sign and else is not needed, because once you return it, it returns. So else is not needed. So this is going good. J will get 1 point. Since Ashok is not here, he will get 0. Shweta is not there, he will get 0. Or we'll not put anything so that we know they were not there. Okay, Sonu Singh, this is J, right? Okay, this is Sonu actually, not J. Sorry, my mistake. This is Sonu Singh. J has not given it. Ole. Let's take the Ole one. So let me run the Ole one. J has not given me. Okay, so J will get 0. Okay. Kate, what happened? I didn't get your one also. Why 0? You should try and give me something, even if it is wrong. I don't mind it, because in interview you have to try. Okay, so he's saying if y equal to 1, return 1. This also looks okay to me. Let's try a couple of examples. Yeah, so I'm getting the correct. And math.pow, he's using math.pow. That is wrong, because I already told that we are using the power function, and math.pow is not the power function. You are using math.pow, that is losing the whole power of this function. You have to call this function, not the math.pow. So you will get, there may be many ways. Any problem can be done in 1,000 ways. This is one of the way. So only you will get 0 for this one, because you have used math.pow. Okay, so to solve any problem, there may be 1,000 ways. Okay, every developer can come up with his own idea, whatever he has in his mind. Okay, so I will do with my one solution, which is similar to what other Sonu Singh has done. It is similar to that one. So first I will return the condition. It will be x into. So we have to take 2 into, and then we have to call this again. So we will call the power of x comma y minus 1. So initially we are passing 4. So here first time when we do it, I will pass 3, then I'll pass 2, then I pass 1, and that's it. So this is the one which we will return it, which will return this part. But I want some base case where this function will end. If I don't put base case, it will go on doing it and my browser will get hanged. So here we have to put the base case. Base case can be, some people put y equal to 1 as Ole did, which is also correct. And if you put 0 also and you return 1, that is also correct. So I will just put both are correct. I will put if it is less than equal to 0, then return 1. So this is my condition, but whatever you have written, that is also correct. Let's double check this, and then we are done. Okay, so we are getting 16. Let's try to put some different condition. I'm getting correct results. Okay, so those who want, they can copy my result. I'll give you 1 minute since it is small, 1 minute to copy my solution. But what others have written are also correct. But Ole has written here math.pow, which is not right because math.pow is something which we are trying to make our own function. We cannot use math.pow. Math.pow will give me direct result. Then we don't need this power function. If I want to use math.pow, I can directly call math.pow here and it will give me the result. That is not we are trying to do. Okay, so now I will give you one problem for the home, which you have to show me tomorrow. Don't use the Google. Try to do yourself and see if you can do yourself. And I will give you points on this tomorrow. I will write down the problem here and you have to solve it. Try to do yourself. Getting the points by looking at Google will not make you strong. So you have to try it yourself even if it is wrong, because your memory will become sharp. If you do wrong and then you see the right solution, then your memory will become strong. Otherwise, if you just copy from the Google, then you will not learn. Okay, so let's try to do this problem. Okay, so I will write down the problem and then you have to think whether you should go with internal function or you have to go directly this function. So you have to think on that also. And this problem is called as product of array. So I will create a function called as product of array and I pass array inside it. So what I am expecting here is it should give me the product of this whole array. So for example, if I pass 1, 2, 3, n, so it should multiply 1 into 2, 2 into 3 into 10 and give me the multiplication of all the numbers. So it will be 1 into 2, 2, 2 into 3 is 6, 6 into 10 is 60. So answer should be 60. So here you have to write recursive function. You have to take this array, do something, call this function again with reduced array, maybe with some change in the array, and do it and create one base case and show me tomorrow. I'll just give this in the Telegram chat group also and here also in this chat group. Okay, so write down this problem and show me tomorrow. Okay, do the recursive function for this one. Any questions? That's all for today.